This is Cashflow Ninja, episode 173, with Minesh Bhindi.
Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Now, here is your host, MC Laubscher.
Hi there, MC Laubscher here, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today, and in today's show, we're going to look at how to own gold and silver as income-generating assets. My returning guest today is Minesh Bhindi, the CEO of Gold and Silver for Life. Minesh started negotiating and selling real estate at 16 years old. Together with his father, they pioneered a unique no-money-down real estate transaction process in the United Kingdom. He went on to help investors buy over £20 million worth of property with this strategy, in addition to doing his first real estate deal for 3 flats in the heart of London's financial district, which netted him a cashback on purchase of $68,000 and $250,000 in equity at just 18 years old. After a friend told him to start helping people learn how to do what he was able to do, what came to him so naturally, he created an education company and spoke at others and his own seminars around the UK twice a month for 3 to 4 years. He has been invited to share the stage with Sir Richard Branson at the age of 23, and he's spoken around the world from Hawaii to New Zealand, along many other amazing business icons like Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Computers. Minesh has built 3 companies to help investors use the strategies he's learned and used to acquire real estate, the stock market, and now his attention has turned to helping investors acquire gold and silver as income-generating assets after the financial crisis of 2008. Minesh is hosting a free webinar training, 3 steps to cash flow gold and silver and create a passive income of 12% to 26.4% per year. I would highly recommend this free webinar training hosted by Minesh. He shares unbelievably valuable financial education in this webinar. You can access this webinar at cashflowyourgold.com. That's cashflowyourgold.com. And you can also open a gold savings account with gold money at cashflowninja.com/gold money to receive a 5% bonus on your first deposit. Please share your feedback and thoughts on today's interview. You can let me know your thoughts on Twitter by tweeting me at MC Laubscher or by email at info@cashflowninja.com. And please remember to join our mailing list by signing up at cashflowninja.com or texting Cashflow Ninja to 44222. To ensure you never miss one of our episodes, you can download our free interactive smartphone apps from the Apple and Google Play app stores. You can also support the show by becoming a patron on Patreon for $10 a month. And when you do become a patron, you get access to our private Facebook page and a Cashflow Ninja t-shirt. You can become a patron at cashflowninja.com/support. Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Are you interested in real estate investing and don't know where to start or how to get the results you want? For valuable information to get you started, visit JoinOps Properties at joinopsproperties.com. If you're not earning at least 8% on your cash or money in your self-directed IRAs, you do not want to miss the private lending presentation for non-accredited investors done by Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott. Discover how to create an income stream from real estate without the management headaches. You can access the presentation at cashflowninja.com/private lending. Spartan Invest have a proven plan and system, helping investors create passive income and wealth through turnkey real estate ownership in the exciting market of Birmingham, Alabama. Find out why Birmingham has got it going on, why it's a steal right now, why it's a millennial hangout, a hidden gem, and one of the most exciting investment opportunities you have never heard of. You can download your free report, 5 Big Reasons to Invest in the Magical City of Birmingham, Alabama, at cashflowninja.com/Spartan. I've spoken about the most powerful system on the planet on the show, the banking system, and my firm Valhalla Wealth Financial helps people reclaim the banking function within their own lives through leveraging the premium tools and strategies of the wealthy. If you're interested in reclaiming the banking function within your own life and the infinite banking concept, you can access a free webinar presentation at cashflowninja.com/be the bank. Minesh, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me again. How have you been?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Very good, thank you. So I also just remembered you've had a baby boy, right? So congratulations since the last time we spoke.
No, thank you so much.
How old is he now, actually?
Just over 2 months.
Oh, wow. Cute. Okay, good. So you've had a busy time.
Yeah, definitely keeping me and my wife busy, but it's been a fantastic experience.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for having me on again.
Looking forward to our conversation. Now, Minesh, for our listeners that are not familiar with Minesh Bhindi and Gold and Silver for Life, can you please share a little bit about your background and journey?
Sure. My background, I started negotiating real estate deals when I was very, very young. I started, my dad was negotiating real estate deals and then selling them to a group of investors. And one day I was watching him and in a very, very arrogant and confident way, I don't know, there's always a thin line between those two. I watched him after a negotiation, looked at him and said, hey, I could do that too. And luckily for me, instead of telling me to get lost, he said, show me. And then I started negotiating real estate deals. Now I was about 15 and a half at that point, which was shocking to most people. And then from there, I started attending seminars on wealth creation with my dad again. And I just thought it was all a load of crap, to be honest with you, at that age. And I was making enough money at that age where I had a definite sense of complete and utter arrogance. And then I met a friend of mine. His name is Mark Anastasi. And I told him what I was doing. It was his seminar. And I told him what I was doing. And he said, hey, you need to get serious about this. You could actually help a lot of people that want to learn this stuff. What you're doing. You're negotiating real estate deals at 16 years old, you should be on stage. You've got the confidence, you've got everything else that you need. You could help some people really grow their wealth. And immediately, of course, at that age, when someone older than you tells you something, you go, no, that's complete and utter rubbish. And so I said that. And then I saw him go on stage and 100 people ran to the back of the room to give him £2,000. To teach them how to set up an internet business for a seminar that was happening in 2 months' time. And at that point, my only motivating factor was money for some reason. And so when I saw this happen and these 100 people run past me, I turned to my dad, who was with me, and said, hey, I could do this. And about a month and a half later, we set up the education business. And since then, it's literally been whatever I'm doing. We teach through the education side, from real estate to stocks and then gold and silver. About 2000, I started getting into gold and silver about 2008, and then we started teaching in 2010.
Now, before we get to the asset classes, I think a great topic to revisit would be the principles behind your investment philosophy. Can you share your wealth triangle philosophy with my listeners?
Yeah, the wealth triangle philosophy is just a pattern that I've noticed across every single successful investor. No matter which investment class they get into, no matter what they do, no matter what they buy, they have a theory and a way of thinking about an investment that's just so simple. It's not confusing at all, and it just works every single time, and it works no matter which investment class you're getting into. So the philosophy of all of my investments is what I like to call the wealth triangle philosophy. And step one of that philosophy is when you're buying an asset, you make sure you buy it below market value or as close to below market value as you can. Because the theory is that you make your money and the practicality is you make your money when you buy an asset, not when you sell it. So if you set yourself up right when you buy it, you don't have to worry about when you're selling it because you know you're always going to make a profit. And step number two is you've got to cash flow that asset to make holding it free. So investors in 2008 will remember that they got into property. And because they couldn't cash flow it at a high enough level, when the credit crisis happened, they couldn't hold on to that asset because they didn't have the cash flow to do it. So cash flow is a fundamental important part of it. That's why the wealthiest people they might be in real estate, but that real estate will be generating an income. So they might go and buy real estate and then put a McDonald's there so that it generates income, or or they'll go and buy a business and they'll boost that business up, whatever the business is, to generate an income. The cash flow side has to be super important. And then part 3 is you've got to use that surplus cash and not blow it. You've got to compound it in the investment class that you think is going up anyway. If you got into that investment that you think is going up, there is no reason why you shouldn't buy more of that. And I've just noticed that investors, when they do this, they buy below market value or as close to below market value as possible. They cash flow that investment so they can hold on to it during tough times. And then they compound their returns into more of that asset. It just never fails.
And this is something that you teach with your company, Gold and Silver for Life, that's in the precious metal space. And you teach and support clients to create income streams from gold and silver. Can you share a little bit more about this strategy with my listeners?
Yeah, so I mean, there's different ways of investing in gold and silver. Everyone's got their preference. We create the strategy and we teach the strategy that I like the most, which is using ETFs and options to create a situation where you can own gold and silver and benefit from the price rise of gold and silver while generating a monthly cash flow right now. Now, there's different ways of investing in gold and silver, like I said, and you've got to decide what you're comfortable with. I'm not a person that's against any particular investment. I'm not a hardcore gold bug where I say you've got to have physical and that's it. I think, I'm a cyclical opportunist. There is an opportunity in the gold market right now and the silver market right now. They're highly undervalued investments. So you've got to position yourself in the best way possible. I'm not one of those people that think zombies are going to walk the earth and you're going to actually be exchanging gold coins and bars for food or anything else. I think there will be a revaluation at some point, and then the gold cycle will stabilize. And at that point, you should be in another investment. Until then, you've got to figure out what the most profitable way for you to do it is. And the way for me is using ETFs because I get them at 0.4% premium to the spot price. And then I can generate a cash flow of 1 to 2.2% a month, which is what we've been teaching now for since 2010.
And this is a passive strategy as well that ties into lifestyle design. How active and how many times a day, for instance, or a week or a month, do you guys actively watch some of these trades and actively manage these trades?
Well, I don't want to reference myself there because I have another business, Reverent Capital, that does that manages capital and things like that. So we look at it way more than the average person should do. So what I'd like to reference is an anonymous survey that we did of our clients. And in that situation, the average amount of time that came from managing this strategy was 20 minutes a month. And that is from our clients, not from myself. Because I think looking at my own experience is slightly different to the average person's because this is my business.
Now, Minesh, you've studied asset market cycles and you refer to yourself as a cyclical opportunist and you continue to study them. Let's look at the world economy and world markets right now, especially financial markets. What do you see happening right now in the world economy and the financial markets? And then we'll dive into the asset market cycles after that.
I'm going to be a contrarian here, I guess. I think there's a lot of confidence. I know there's a lot of people saying that, a crash is coming, and I believe that. The only problem with that is that a crash comes every 3 to 5 years. So it's not a new thing. I think there's a lot of confidence in the economy. I think there's a lot of confidence in the U.S. economy in particular. I think the feel that your new president has created will result in continuing market gains. Except I think at some point there has to be a revaluation of your currency. And that's not me dreaming up a situation. That is just historical economic fact. It happens every 38 years. And it will happen at some point. There will be a point where you'll just have too much debt on the balance sheet and it will need to be revalued and it's always revalued into gold and silver, no matter what all the Bitcoin fanatics talk about. And at that point, overnight, the situation I can see happening, I don't think there's going to be riots in the street. I don't think anything that's going to happen. It will just be an overnight situation where the Federal Reserve will revalue gold to its, to say $7,500 an ounce, and that will revalue the US dollar to a 40% covering, which is exactly what it was before we came off the gold standard last time.
You touched on a couple of things here, which we'll get into, but let's focus on asset market cycles. And you've talked about, you look at what assets are undervalued and then you get into them. Where do you see real estate right now? And you've mentioned there's a huge opportunity, obviously, in gold and silver, and that's why you're in that asset class. But where do you see real estate right now, and then some of the other markets?
I think for first, I think just to get it out of the way, I think the stock market is overvalued. However, there is a lot of confidence and there is a steam engine moving that forward. I think real estate in certain areas is overvalued. In certain areas is at a valuation that people just have to get used to. For example, London, I think that there's just so much money pouring into London. The London market, I think, is pretty stable. Even though the prices are ridiculous, right? But they're only ridiculous compared to our perception of what they should be 8 years ago. Whereas anyone coming into the market now, the prices are just what the prices are. So I think the London market, because there's no way that you can, with real estate, it depends on the market, right? If I'm in the middle of nowhere and there's acres and acres of land that I can just build on, yeah, that market might see a steeper correction than the London market. The London market, there's nowhere else I can build here. So it's the same thing in New York. If you're right in the heart of New York, will there always be attention going to New York and money flowing to New York? I think so. Is there a way for builders in New York to just create land out of thin air? No. So therefore, the only thing that could happen to a market like New York or London is that demand slows down, which is what we're seeing. Supply is never going to increase. Demand is just slowing down. And considering that most of these properties were bought now after the 2008 financial crisis and banks are not lending money like they used to, I think that a lot of the demand that's gone into New York and gone into London and these big markets has been real cash demand. So unless those people have situations in their life where they have to liquidate, I don't think you're going to see a massive correction like people are expecting in those big markets. Outside and those rural markets, I think you're going to see some damage.
And where do you see the gold and silver and the commodity? Where do you see that asset class? Is this kind of like you mentioned? There's a huge opportunity there. Are we kind of at the bottom of this asset market cycle that's still with huge opportunity to climb?
I think the gold and silver are the most undervalued historical asset classes in the market right now. That's why I'm in them. When you look at the valuation you would need on gold per ounce to cover the current US dollar, I think Credit Suisse did a study, and it was something like 10,100 and 10,000. Let's just round it down to $10,000 an ounce. It was just above $10,000 an ounce. So if that revaluation was to happen, it would take gold from 1,200 to 10,000 overnight. And nobody that wasn't in the market to understand how that worked would understand, but it would basically cause a 50% reduction in the value of any cash that you held overnight.
You're listening to Minesh Bhindi on the Cashflow Ninja podcast. We will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you having a hard time finding great investment properties? Unfortunately, the best deals are rarely found locally. Successful investing begins with the right properties in the right markets. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best deals across the U.S. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly cash flow. Get your free copy of the ultimate guide to passive real estate investing at noradarealestate.com/guide. That's NORADA realestate.com/guide.
You're listening to Minesh Bhindi on the Cashflow Ninja podcast, and now back to our interview. Now, there's obviously a lot of attention being given to Bitcoin, and you've mentioned that earlier on. Please speak freely about Bitcoin. What are some of your thoughts on these cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin?
Well, obviously, I'm an advocate for history. I think 2,000 years speaks a lot versus 8 years. I think that Bitcoin, the technology behind Bitcoin, the blockchain technology, is a great phenomenon. I think it will be used for years to come for the banking system and things like that. I'm just very skeptical of Bitcoin as a store of value. And I think when you look at it as question it as a store of value, would you trust Bitcoin to hold your money right now to pass over to your children? And I think that's when it becomes slightly sketchy. And I think that when you look at Bitcoin, there are limitations to the system. I mean, before it used to take a second for a transaction to happen. Now it takes 30 minutes for a transaction to happen. And we're only 8 years in. What's going to happen when, the majority of the world, like the Bitcoin fanatics say, are using the system? It's just going to get slower and slower and slower. And eventually it's not going to be any better than just using cash and currency. The other thing that's interesting about Bitcoin is that from a privacy perspective, every single transaction is logged and they can tell exactly who did that transaction at what point. And if anybody thinks that it's completely private, I mean, you should check, have another look at that. Whereas gold, once you buy it, you can trade and things like that with people and it's completely private. So I'm just, I don't want to seem like I'm poo-pooing Bitcoin. I'm just saying that it doesn't make sense from a store of value perspective. So it doesn't make sense as holding a prominent position in terms of a currency. I think the actual transactional technology is fantastic.
Yeah, it certainly is still very, very speculative too right now, just with some of the moves that we've seen. But yeah, I tend to agree with you about the technology. I mean, from the blockchain technology that came from Bitcoin, we could see that going into many different sectors and even the banking and financial sector.
Yeah, I think, if we could use the blockchain technology and it's made better so that each transaction that's happening doesn't take up the time that it's taking up right now, then we could use that technology to make, for example, international payments a lot faster. Right now, it takes 4 or 5 days for an international payment to happen, whereas, it shouldn't need to, not with the technology that we have now. And blockchain is a perfect solution for that, I think.
Now, what part of your portfolio would you recommend that people allocate to precious metals such as gold and silver in this time? Obviously, there's a lot of things happening right now. We have markets that's overvalued. You touched upon the real estate too. Here in the United States, we're over $21 trillion in debt. There's a pension crisis that seems to be rearing its head really badly. We just saw that what state Illinois is in, and that's the first domino to fall. Personal debt is at massive highs, from student loan debts to auto loans and mortgages and so forth. What would you recommend from a portfolio standpoint that people allocate towards precious metals?
Well, this is very interesting because a lot of fund managers, etc., always say you should have, 5% or less than 5% of your portfolio in precious metals, and that really they're looking at it as a hedge and a stabilizer of a portfolio. When the only other assets you've got is local real estate, some stocks, and cash, from my analysis. And every single person's individual. It depends on what else you can do with the money. You should at least be looking at 20% based on what I've analyzed. I think that varies for different people, and it also varies on your risk appetite. Some people need more diversification, some people need less diversification, but at least 20% is a good amount. And I think regardless of that 20%, I think every single person should have at least $5,000 worth of physical gold and silver that they hold possession of, and you should definitely do that. And then beyond that, you can then go and look at other strategies like what we teach at Gold and Silver for Life.
Now, Minesh, a lot of my listeners have reached out to me and asked me about mining stocks. What are some of your thoughts on mining stocks?
Well, mining stocks are stocks, right? And I'm not really the best person to talk about mining stocks because I don't have the experience. My friend David Morgan is probably better to advise on mining stocks. He's been doing it for longer than I've been alive. And he actually advises our clients on mining stocks. So my perspective is just as simple as they are stocks. They can be run by CEOs that don't know what they're doing. They can fluctuate. They are affected by the same things that any other stock is affected by. So what I would say with mining stocks is make them, 10 to 15% of your overall gold holding, and then, strap in for the ride, and then don't get out just because they go down. Make sure you get into really good companies, really solid companies, and then, ride with it.
You've spoken about a store of value, which gold and silver definitely is. And we're looking at a very, very large segment of the population globally, the baby boomers going into their golden years, no pun intended, towards retirement. So and there's a lot of, there's confidence right now, but we're seeing, as you've mentioned, the markets are overvalued. Some real estate markets are overvalued, and a store of value comes to mind. But what other advice would you give to baby boomers to preserve their capital in this golden years that they're entering and living out their retirement?
I would say if you own a business, we're probably going to see some economic slowdown and the stock market slowdown between 2018 all the way up to 2020. Somewhere in between that period. So you need to decide whether you want to sell your business before that or whether you can ride it out through that. Otherwise, you're going to get an abysmal valuation and exit for your business. I think at the same time, you've got to look at most baby boomers that are going into it right now think they're going to have a 15 to 20-year retirement. And I think potentially it could be longer. No matter, even if you're 65, 70, the way medicine is moving now, by the time you are 85, 90, there's going to be medicine out there that will allow you to, live a lot longer. So I think that was one thing that people are completely underestimating. So I think you've got to look at investments that not only store the value of your wealth now, but also create an income for you. And if you want the simplest investment to get into, an index fund is probably the simplest thing that you can do. Just make sure, I gave a presentation at an event that we just ran for our clients, and I said that the magic number that you really want to grow your money at is 8.2% a year. And if you can grow your money at 8.2% a year, and that's without any cash flow, without anything fancy, your money will generally be protected over a long period of time. And one of the easiest ways anybody can do that if they don't want to get into investments that have the potential to increase their wealth a lot more than that in the short term is just invest in an index fund. And as long as your money stays in that index fund and doesn't come out of that index fund at the wrong time, your money should be protected over a long period of time. So it's really dependent on what does your life look like. If you're a baby boomer, what does your life look like for the next 5 and 10 years? And that's how you make a decision of when you cash out or what sort of investments you get into. If you're really looking at, cashing out, then you've got to, start planning and doing that ASAP. If you're okay to stay in and you've got a cash fund that's going to keep you through the next 5 years, then you can start pressing into a little bit more of a riskier asset class. Well, when I say risky, I mean, a little bit more volatile.
Very interesting. Now, Minesh, what are you currently studying and what skill sets are you currently learning?
In business and investing, or what do you mean?
Yes, just in general. What topics are you studying and what skill sets are you adding?
Well, my personal purpose that drives me every single day is to make safe investing exciting. I think, in my years of speaking on stage and talking to people and working with people, and even now dealing with the type of clients that we deal with on my Reverent Capital business side, where people with over $500,000 that want to invest, one thing that I've noticed, the trend that I've noticed is that, safe investing is just not exciting for people. And that causes more people to lose money than anything else. And that's the philosophy that Gold and Silver for Life was derived by. How do we make safe investing exciting for people? And so my main skill that I'm trying to develop all the time is, continuously trying to make safe investing exciting so that people don't go and risk their capital and blow it on investments that will cost them their future, because that's what we're really dealing with. At my level, I'm not talking to people that want to invest $2,000 into a Forex strategy. I'm talking to people that have real wealth, that are looking to protect it over the long term. So I take my responsibility on that very seriously. And so the skills that I'm just trying to get better at is, how do I continue to make investments safer, continue to make it more exciting for people while being safe, and how do we continue to get it out there to more people?
Now, Minesh, you're in the middle of a very exciting launch this week with Gold and Silver for Life. Can you share a little bit more about that with my listeners?
Yeah, this week we're basically opening up the gates for some more clients. We'll probably end up, I don't know, actually, I have no idea what will happen. But we're hosting a free educational webinar that people can listen to. They'll get a lot of value out of just registering. I give them a training, which is a 26-minute training on how to create a gold and silver savings account from anywhere in the world that you can do without paying me anything, or anything like that. You can just get a taster of that by just registering for the webinar. And in the webinar, then you'll learn, the 3 steps of how to cash flow gold and silver. You'll learn why it's important to cash flow gold and silver and not just sit on it, and how to actually structure your overall gold and silver position.
I have to say that is amazing content right there, and extremely valuable education that Minesh is giving away for free. I would highly recommend you check it out. I will have links to that webinar in the show notes. And if you're out on the road listening, you can access that webinar at cashflowyourgold.com. That's cashflowyourgold.com. Minesh, how can my listeners learn more about you, your company, and stay informed of all of the projects that you're involved with?
I think you can go on what's commonly known as, I think, Google and type my name in. You'll find my website. You'll find the Gold and Silver for Life website. You can probably connect with me on some form of social media. I think Facebook is probably the easiest. And that's pretty much it. I mean, my main purpose is to continue to make safe investing exciting. And I'll continue doing that. Right now it's with gold and silver because I think it's the most undervalued asset class there. And I think we have a pretty smart way of investing in gold and silver, and we're adding to that community of gold and silver investors. But my main, like I said, my only mission is to make safe investing exciting, because to me, wealth is all about choices. And you can't have choices tomorrow if today you're taking gambles with your wealth.
Minesh, thank you so much for coming on the show again. It's been a pleasure having you on and connecting and providing so much value for my listeners.
It's always a pleasure. You know that. Always a pleasure to be on here. Thank you very much.
This is MC Laubscher, the host of the Cashflow Ninja podcast. As you may know, I'm also the president and chief wealth strategist of Valhalla Wealth Financial. We help individuals, families, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and professionals build their wealth outside of Wall Street and help investors maximize the use of every dollar in their personal economy and boost their investment gains. We do this by combining the capital and investments with the financial vehicle of the wealthy, according to the infinite banking concept. If you're interested to learn more about privatized banking and the infinite banking concept, you can access an exclusive webinar at cashflowninja.com/be-the-bank. Thank you for joining my guest, Minesh Bhindi, and myself on the Cashflow Ninja today. If you're interested in the free webinar training that Minesh is hosting, 3 steps to cash flow gold and silver and create a passive income of 12% to 26.4% per year, you can access the free webinar training at cashflowyourgold.com. That's cashflowyourgold.com. You can also open a gold savings account at goldmoney at cashflowninja.com/goldmoney, and you'll receive a 5% bonus on your first deposit. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here at the Cashflow Ninja, please subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes, and share our show with family, friends, and your network. I'm always trying to learn and improve in every area of my life, so if there's any way that I can provide more value to you and serve you better, please reach out to me at info@cashflowninja.com. If you're not a subscriber to the Cashflow Ninja Gashku newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter at cashflowninja.com or text Cashflow Ninja to 44222. You can support the show also by becoming a patron on Patreon for $10 a month. And when you do become a patron, you get access to our private Facebook page and a Cashflow Ninja t-shirt. You can become a patron at cashflowninja.com/support. Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott have been in your shoes and have used real estate investing to become financially free. They've designed a system to take any beginner to an experienced deal-making investor in the least amount of time. They offer opportunities from basic education, coaching, bridge loan investing to turnkey investments in the cash-flowing market of St. Louis, Missouri. For more information, please visit joinupsproperties.com or call Jimmy and Bob at 314-799-2247. If you're not earning at least 8% on your cash or money in your self-directed IRAs, you do not want to miss the private lending presentation for non-accredited investors done by Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott. Discover how to create an income stream from real estate without the management headaches. You can access the presentation at cashflowninja.com/private lending. Creating passive income for you and your family is easier than you think. All you need are three things: the right plan, the right product, and the right turnkey provider. As an investor, you want a safe, profitable, and convenient way to invest your capital without being at the mercy of stock market fluctuations. Investing in real estate in a turnkey way that provides monthly passive income with very low risk is exactly what Spartan Invest provides for their clients. Their mission is to make investing in real estate easy for the busy professional. Spartan Invest helps investors create passive income and wealth through turnkey ownership in Birmingham, Alabama. You can download your free report, 5 Big Reasons to Invest in the Magical City of Birmingham, Alabama, at cashflowninja.com/Spartan. The wealthiest families on the planet know how to capture their wealth and then leveraging their wealth through their own banking system. If you're interested in the infinite banking concept and learning the premier strategies of the wealthiest individuals and families on the planet, you can access a free webinar at cashflowninja.com/be-the-bank. That's our show for today, everyone. Until next time, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms.
You have been listening to the Cashflow Ninja with your host, MC Laubscher, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Today's show notes and resources are available on our website, cashflowninja.com. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objective, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.